Hi there, and welcome to Amman. Around 8 hours ago, I landed here after a short flight from Athens, and in this video we're going to explore my next flight to Bangkok on one of these beautiful 787-8s. Unfortunately though, this transit experience didn't start here. It started at the absolutely horrendous Amman Airport Hotel, which was provided by Royal Jordanian. For a bit of a detailed recap of why you should avoid this place at all costs, please check out my prior video. This site has been serving as the country's primary airport since around 1983 when it opened. But the building that we see now is essentially a new airport, and it was inaugurated in 2013. The roofline, made up of 127 concrete domes, are meant to resemble Bedouin tents. I think it's actually a really beautiful structure in a scalloped, brutalist kind of way. Before we get into tonight's trip report, let me welcome you to the channel if you're new here. My name is Kevin, and I am the Flip Flop Traveler. I think the internet is in need of a whole lot more honesty when it comes to airline and hotel content, and that's why I'm here. I pay for my own flights and hotels, and you'll always be able to find the exact price I pay in the description below. This video was created without the knowledge of or compensation from Royal Jordanian, because I want as typical of an experience as possible, so I can share this video in the most unbiased way possible. Part of today's video though is sponsored by Level 8 Luggage. More on that later. I'm glad I was able to get some daytime shots earlier, but in reality, it's now a bit after midnight as I wait for the hotel shuttle to finally take us to the airport. After arriving, I was escorted straight through immigration since this was only a quasi-official entrance and exit of the country. Once through security, very strict security I'll mention, I was free at last. Once through security, there's a small duty-free section, and then you'll be let into the middle of the concourse. You can see it on the right-hand side of the main building here. This central part of the concourse is where the majority of the shops and lounges are. When it's time to board, you'll make your way to one of the wings, so to speak. Already near 1 AM by the time I got to the lounge, I had a quick tour around before heading to the gate. The lounge is spacious, located one level above the main concourse, and overlooks it. On the primary side of the lounge, the side that you'll enter on, there's a pizza bar, ice cream trolley, and a selection of non-alcoholic drinks, along with the majority of the lounge's seating. On our way to the other side of the lounge, we're able to catch a great overview of everything before checking out the bar and food on offer. There was a nice selection of cold appetizers on offer, with a few basic hot dishes as well. From other reviews of this lounge, it seemed like the offerings are scaled back at this time of night compared to a normal mealtime. That's fine though, as it was time to head to the gate anyway. Royal Jordanian is majority government owned after being partially privatized in 2007. 2007 was actually a pretty big year for the airline. They also joined the OneWorld alliance that year, and decided on a fleet renewal plan which led to them purchasing the 787s that I'll be flying tonight. They currently fly to 55 destinations, with Alexandria, Tripoli, Manchester, and London Stansted starting or restarting again this year. Considering how many regional European destinations they fly to, it's a wonder why they don't connect to more destinations to the east, besides Bangkok. What definitely isn't a wonder though is how much I'm absolutely in love with my new carry-on. This part of the video is sponsored by Level 8. I have built this channel on telling it like it is, and have always committed to only endorsing products that I use on a daily basis, which is why changing bags for me is a big deal. I like simple bags that perform well no matter how much you put them through. And my 20-inch Voyager hard-sided spinner is just that. Made from German-made Macrolon polycarbonate, it's light enough to carry on the low-cost carriers, but durable enough to check in with confidence, weighing in at just under 4 kilos, or just around 8 pounds. On this particular bag though, my favorite feature is the handle. First of all, It's chunky and actually comfortable to grip for hours a day like I often have to do. But for me, it's all about the wide stance. The handle is built into the outer frame of the bag, so when packing you have more space and flexibility inside. And it's kinda crazy how much more stable the wider handle makes the bag overall when you're moving it. That's one benefit I wasn't expecting. If you're in the market for a new carry-on bag or check-in suitcase, Level 8 should absolutely be on your radar. Their prices are reasonable already, but you can support the channel and use code KEVIN10 at checkout to save an extra 10% on your order, or click the link at the top of the description. Thanks very much to Level 8 for their support. This concourse is a bit strange at night. What I mean is, while I was there, and on video, it feels pretty dark and drab and not really so modern. But I was actually in Amman more recently, and during the day, it's a completely different airport, and it seemed beautiful and sleek and new. Just about as sleek as our 7-year-old 787-8 wearing her Discover Petra Special Livery. Can I make a small confession? I've loved airliners my whole life. But it wasn't until like a year ago that I realized that all Royal Jordanian planes are actually meant to be gray. I swear all of these years, I thought they were meant to be black and were all just faded. In person though, especially during the day, they are really beautiful birds, with a bit of a metallic shimmer in the gray paint. Boarding began a bit behind schedule, but was completed fairly efficiently, with what felt like 50% of the plane boarding in Zone 1. This is not a daily flight for Royal Jordanian, and what felt like a ridiculous number of crew boarded the plane. So my guess is that there were actually 2 crews on board. One deadheading out will work the return flight, and vice versa, saving them from having to stay in Bangkok for 2 or 3 nights. I know the deadheading crew aren't working quote-unquote during this first flight, but my god, that's a long duty day if that's true. As we head down the jet bridge, let's take a look at tonight's flight stats. I was greeted at the door as I boarded and was shown to my seat, which was literally in front of the door, for Alpha. These planes have a bit of an odd setup with a big open space as you enter through door number 2, with 4 rows of seats in a 2-2-2 setup in front of it. These are the Collins Aerospace seats that you'll find on a variety of carriers, both in wide-body and narrow-body planes. Originally debuting, I believe, in 2006 if memory serves me right, for Continental Airlines as their business first product. Revolutionary, like revolutionary at the time. I always seem to have the same opinion and experience with these seats. It's very true that you get spoiled with a lot of airlines having all aisle access business class these days. So when you go on flights like this, you're not exactly over the moon excited about the seat itself. But every time, I find the seat itself to be more comfortable than I remember. There's a fully adjustable headrest, a bit of a storage pocket next to your hip, a good spot to secure your wallet and passport during the flight. The outer armrest can go up and down independent of whether you're in the upright or full flat mode, which I love. Without the center overhead bins, this cabin really does feel spacious, and like I mentioned in my previous Royal Jordanian video, their planes are pristine. Everything is in good condition and absolutely clean as a whistle. Light gray or beige seats like this can often really quickly look drab if they're not well taken care of. These seats look brand new though. There are 2 things that I don't like about this seat though. First up is the awkward storage space above and behind your shoulder. The storage space here isn't really that big of a deal, but the outlet being up there is a problem if you want to use your device while it's plugged in, unless you travel with a 2-meter long cord. The other thing that certifiably everybody hates about these seats are the itsy bitsy teeny weeny red foot cubby. It can barely fit my not so huge backpack smooshed under it. And if I want to sleep in full flat mode, I might as well just tie my feet together because there's no room to move around. If you head down to the description, you'll find my next 5 videos to come out, as well as other bits and pieces like the soundtrack titles featured in this video. On your way down there, don't forget to subscribe. I release full-length videos every Thursday and Saturday. The shelf below the monitor is handy though, and the monitor itself is bright and works well as a touchscreen. Small bottles of water were passed around, followed by Arabic coffee before departure. Thankfully, they outfitted their planes with overhead air vents. You might have noticed that I have a weird window seat. The one next to me, or I guess the two next to me, are missing. When I booked this a few months before departure, this was the only window seat available, and that didn't change before the time of the flight. It's fine for a night flight. We pushed back, and the colorful safety video began to roll.
The flight time to Bangkok will be 8 hours and 20 minutes. We have to inform you that all time to booking for the rotation of safety prohibited. Shortly, we will show the safety demonstration picture for the safe.
Not much to see besides the beautifully lit concourse on our taxi tonight. The airport only has 3 or 4 flights per hour during these overnight hours. Sit back and relax. The spool up, takeoff, and airport stats are coming up next.
Embracing each moment together. Your memories will start to recollect.
We took off to the west before pulling a U-ey and heading more or less straight to Bangkok. Let's take a look at all the in-flight comfort items. The pillow was a nice size and pretty substantial in fluffiness. The blanket was good as well, hopping on the Etihad and Qatar fuzzy blanket trend. Though I do have to say, there's a lot of light beige in this cabin. When their new 787s start coming next year, I do hope that they inject just a little bit more life in the design. Headphones were decent quality. I believe they're the same used by Singapore and Cathay, but it's hard to tell when they're unmarked. For a flight of this length, I thought the amenity kit was a nice assortment of products, including some very cute aviation socks and some Rituals products. Hot towels were passed around and the cabin was prepared for dinner. Coming up is the full menu for tonight's flight. I repeat, the full menu for tonight's flight. I get the feeling that Royal Jordanian just doesn't have many late-night long-haul flights, and so they don't really have menus designed specifically for that type of flight. This is the exact same format menu as my flight from Athens, which was under 2 hours. I'll note 2 things. There was alcohol, but no menu for it. And there was also a breakfast service, which was not printed on the menu. From, I think, every review that I've seen about Royal Jordanian, typically they put on a beautiful trolley service for dinner. But I suppose it's a single tray due to the time of departure, which is a shame. The food was good though. I chose the Oriental menu, their word, not mine, which started off with a pastrami potato and olive appetizer with an apricot dressing. For the main course, we had fatet makdous, which was fried eggplant with meat, walnuts, and chickpeas. Finally, for dessert, we had baklava with ice cream. For these style of meals, you cannot choose individual dishes. Rather, you need to choose the full Western or Oriental menu. After dinner, I checked out the restrooms, which, unlike I think any other that I've ever seen before, opened forward towards the cabin. Very odd. The bathroom itself was clean though, and kept that way throughout, with Rituals lotion and a local cologne as well. Soon after dinner, half the cabin was already asleep, and so I settled in for a nap myself. I did want to be woken up for breakfast, but not gonna lie, the flight attendant scared the absolute crap out of me when they woke me up. Is it just me that always gets startled by being woken up by a stranger on a flight? Despite there being no menu for breakfast, I think I can figure this one out for myself. This was the only option, mind you. We had a vegetable omelet with sausage and roasted microwave vegetables on the side, along with a small fruit plate and some breads as well. After that, the crew came around with some Arabic breads, which I was very thankful for since that roll just didn't want to be eaten. And ironically, the safety butter instantly made me think about the complete opposite. Overall, the breakfast was edible. Soon enough, we were passing over Myanmar and beginning our descent into Bangkok's Suvarnabhumi airport. Enjoy the landing. The airport stats are coming up next.
Cabin crew, kindly take your seats for that. Thank you.
We passed by the new satellite terminal on our way to the gate with a motley crew of neighbors. Service on board was a mixed bag. I had two flight attendants serving my row. One of them was charming and warm, and the other was robotic and efficient. So, I guess that equals like overall a B. I love trying new airlines for long-haul flights, and I was really excited to try Royal Jordanian, but in retrospect, I feel like a lot of that anticipation was all about the food on board, and that was a bit of a letdown, making this flight overall decent, but forgettable. Would I fly them again for the right price? Absolutely, and you should too, but I wouldn't go out of my way to fit them into an itinerary. I really do hope that you enjoyed this trip report today. If you did, please be sure to click that like button and subscribe with notifications on to be sure you don't miss out on my twice weekly videos. I'll see you next time from the Crown Plaza Star Bay for the conclusion of my Phu Quoc series. Oh, and as always, thanks for watching until the end.